Welcome everyone. Let's start out this session telling you a little bit about KI Innovations DRIVE Incubator. We are based at Karolinska Institute, as you might understand from the name. Starting out with this really beautiful picture of a really old house, 300 years old, with the new aula behind. I really love that picture. So can't helping it having that on. We'll take questions afterwards. This will just be a short introduction to the DRIVE incubators. It will be possible to ask questions afterwards, and also later on mail questions if you have such. We are opening up for applications now, 10th of June, open until 23rd of August for the DRIVE Business Incubator. The people behind this is Christian, Annika, and Mats, which you will see a picture of later on. So what is DRIVE? DRIVE is for startup companies, really early startup companies within human-oriented life science, meaning medicine, human medicine and related. The objectives of what we do here is to create sustainable life science companies with a clear business plan that have a basic funding, that can have scale-up potential, and a validated business model. How do we do that? We do that through our network, and as it is with us being around now for 25 years, we have been working up quite a few networks, contacts. It's life science experts. We have about 140 experts in our consultancy database. We have a lot of national and international investor networks. Many of us been working in pharma companies, both within DRIVE incubator, but also in the pre-incubator. So we have networks into the pharma companies, but it includes as well some medtech companies. Internationalization network, we work with Business Sweden and other international networks for introducing startup companies globally. And we have a very strong community and mentorship network, both within KI Innovations co-working space, and with other Nordic incubator areas. This is the center team of DRIVE Incubator. Me, Mats, Annika, with communication support from Maria. She also helps you with the web pages and a lot of other communications. And Bo, that helps with administration. To be able to support you, of course, this is a very small crowd. We have external business coaches, really senior people within everything from medtech to over-the-counter drugs or prescription drugs. And we have people working in medtech industry and lots of experience from financing, board work. And we assign a couple of hours of these coaches to each company. But that's not permanent. I mean, you can 1 year have Morten as your business coach. He may be working with you 8 hours a month. Next year, you rather work with Christina, because there is some competences or the changes in the company that needs another coach. So that's not set in stone we work with. So what areas do we touch upon? As mentioned, it has to be, we don't work with agriculture. We work with human life science, and that's within our area of medtech. There could be surgical equipment, diagnostics, pharma, healthcare, which is both digital solutions for journal system or decision support system, educational systems. E-health, touch upon healthcare, of course, in many cases nowadays, where you have AI and machine learning platforms, and again, some digital therapeutic systems. Lab tech is a broad area. It's reagents, methods, instruments, and also, again, the lab diagnostics, I would say. So what's in it? What's in DRIVE? We work with the venture launch, and the venture launch in this case is not only starting up the company, it's all the things that you need to do with shareholders agreements and other type of agreement, building your business. And To do that, we have a business network, of course, the coaches, but also a lot of external networks for building your business. Partnering opportunities, we start up, actually, we should come back to that with entrepreneurial education, but it goes on all the way through the incubation process. And again, coaching, internal and external coaches, or advisors, you could call it as well. Methods and toolbox, there is a lot of templates. There is all kinds of methods that you can access. Exposure in media, that's actually Maria doing a lot of the communication and supporting with web knowledge where it's needed. Access to conference rooms and meeting rooms. Here's a possibility to sit at AVL Innomedicum with discounted prices, which is really a co-working space that is very flexible and I think lively. It's a lot of startup companies sitting there also with access to 2 floors of labs where you can rent flexible lab spaces that could be just a fume hood or bench or a full lab. Follow-ups, and with that we mean and there is a lot of follow-up on that you progress, and if you're not progressing like you should, what could we help more with? What should you push, which direction to be able to be an attractive startup company for the investors, for the buyers, pharma companies, or just building the company. Financing opportunities includes investor meetings, investment days, but also pushing and promoting to external investor meetings. And again, mentors and experts. We have the expert database, but also mentors through NOMA, the Nordic Mentorship Program, for example. And again, coming back to the USP, it's really evidence-based, human life science, and it's focused on deep tech. But if it's a great novelty, medical need, benefit to the society, you should apply anyway. I mean, really, it's not only deep tech, but it's really the focus here because that's where we have our own and a lot of expertise from KI to access. So we will help you supporting your startup in some specific areas, both working with your impact factor and how do you make impact and be visible as a startup company. The business case, what kind of business model, what's important for that technology or area that you work in, communication again, financing, the team, which is really working on building your team. You should be a dedicated CEO when you enter the incubator, but building the team is really important. That's a good learning over the years, that building a nice team that can work together with the complementary knowledge is extremely important for success and to get the investments. IP, and IP in this case could be patents, but could also be copyright, trademarks, or trade secrets. Product development, this is actually not us working on any product development, but helping you with network to test beds or piloting different products. Sustainability has been increasingly important both for us, but also for the investment community. If you don't have a plan or strategy for being sustainable and equality, that's a bigger challenge to get your investments. So this is something we also follow up on. So what happens? How does a year look? This is some typical DRIVE activities over a year. And the catalyzer is the entrepreneurial program that we start up with during the autumn. It's about 3 months, 1 to 1.5 day a week, working on your case, working all different aspects that is important to you with finance and regulatory, IP, building your team as well and building your business case, and getting help both with presentations and workshops to work and make a really good business plan, one-pagers, and a good pitch. This is ended with a dragon's nest in February with some real-life investors listening into your presentations. There's a lot of other things happening during the year, and everything is not happening just the first year. The catalyze is something you do only the first year. Later on, there will be the business coaches, and that is tailored and talked about. We have the Drive Health Day, which is a day that focus on how do you sell to the healthcare system, how do you access the healthcare system. Investor meetings, we have the Drive Investor Day, which is a full day meeting with a lot of invited investors happening at Biomedicum here at KI. And then we have various series of presentations and community meetings. One is called I köket with Drive, and the other one, Drive Graduation Series, which is really building the community, a possibility for you guys to put out questions and getting answers to specific challenges. That might vary from year to year, what the challenges really are for the community companies. Drive Team Day, focusing on the team, but as well on the legal aspects of building a team or keeping employed people in the company. How do you arrange with salaries for a startup company? Maybe not that much money in the company, but other ways to compensate, for example. And then we are arranging or taking part in partnering meetings. That could be a lot of the commercial meetings that are downtown, like the BioEurope, NLS Days, Vitalis, and the Ignite series of meetings. So why Drive? Together with our external coaches and with a position at KI, I think we have really good competence, both from the internal knowledge and all the external knowledges. Network, that's how we solve problems. That's how we are scalable. We have this network we've been discussing with both the financing and the business aspects that will really help you to connect with. No ownership. Being a part of Drive does not automatically mean that we own you in any way. You sign an agreement, but it's more that you are going to deliver and work for what you're going to do, and that you have a secrecy in between you guys working in the business incubator. Quite a few companies over the years has been through the incubator. Here are some examples the last couple of years. L'Explore, which is really working on eye movements for detecting dyslexia in children. We have Asthma Tuner, which has both an app, but it's also technology behind with a device to measure your asthma status within your prescription range. Really doing quite well in the business right now. I could mention Anacardio is a classical pharma company now in phase 2, as is Gesynta. Heartrunner, you've probably seen on the television, is working with acute heart disease, connecting people that can help you with the healthcare system and the patient. Really, one of the cases really showing that we can increase survival rate significantly. And there are some other companies here that you might have heard of as well. I will not go into details on these companies. So what are we looking for? A unique ID, a unique company, having novelty in what you're doing, and it has to be evidence-based. Team, as mentioned, it has to be a dedicated team. Doesn't have to be that big to start with, but a dedicated CEO with some support people that actually are going to invest time in this startup company. Scalable. To be able to make business, you need to be scalable. Otherwise, it's really, really difficult to survive in a competitive world. And also the investors will look for scalable companies. Impact, of course, coming back to novelty and uniqueness, it is a company that has to have an impact on the market. One more app for certain well-being without anything unique have a really tough time getting accepted, to be honest. Global reach, absolutely. Today, investors and pharma companies, they do look for global need as we do. Otherwise, it's really hard to get the investors to be interested in your company. Feasible. With feasible, we mean it has to be possible to put out milestones It had to be a stepwise process to take your product from ID to the market. So clear blue, clear deep space IDs is difficult to put milestone on within this period of 3 years that really will make a difference. So what criteria do we go for? There is various criteria, but some of the most critical criteria, it has to be 75% founders owned. And with founder is not only the inventor, it could be also an investor that is a part of the startup, really from scratch. That will also be a founder. And 5 years old, a maximum, and that's based on Geber 22, which are some state support rules, tax rules. And that includes also potential owner companies. So if your company are owned by another company that are older than 5 years, that will contaminate your age. So maximum 5 years. No reoccurring sales. Also from the state support rules, we cannot support companies that already have reoccurring sales. And reoccurring sales is not if you have done a test sale for a reduced price to a potential partner in the future that want to explore, you are going to obtain a lot of knowledge from these guys, then it's not the recurring sale. That's what you call a pilot sale or test sale. That's okay, basically. So the application process, it opens today, and you should submit your application latest August the 23rd. You have the possibility to push questions to us, of course. In the end of the presentation, there will be an email address. Then after that starts a review process internally, externally. We use external experts, investors, and other people being knowledgeable in startup environment to help us sort out the most feasible and interesting startup companies. And in end of September, there will be a pitch possibility. And all of this adds together, internal, external, and pitch in our review process, which in the beginning of October means that we will be ready for this decision and signing the agreement with a kickoff in October the 16th. Here is some information on contact, both from our homepage, karolinskinnovations.ki.se. Here you can find also information about our portfolio, current portfolio, alumni companies, but of course also of this application. And if there is questions, Annika will be able to answer questions or at least forward questions if it's something very complicated, and to the rest of the team, and you have her email address here. This is basically the last slide. This is some statements from previous startup companies that are or have been through the business incubator. And by that, I'm through my slides, and you have the possibility to shoot questions at us.
I don't see any hands.
Nope.
Probably crystal clear then.
I must have been.
Hi, I'm just going to say that I will stop the recording now, so feel free to ask questions while knowing not recorded.
Okay, Gary.